Happy Wednesday. What a great day today. Patricia is officially our defensive coordinator. Tim Walton is now the co-defensive coordinator. Matt Guerreri is the passing game coordinator. Because we love us some titles, I would make James Laurinaitis the bad mofo Legion of Doom Road Warriors coordinator so that he can get a bump too because he deserves it. But wow, what a great day. Matt Patricia is now our DC literal genius. The guy was with Bill Belichick for about 20 years, 3 years with the Lions, 8 games with the Eagles, which people are a little too hung up on. I don't really care about that. I'm thinking about this Patriot stuff, the Patriot Way, how these guys grind, how these guys work. I think it's going to be very advantageous for our staff defensively and offensively to see how a mastermind works. And I of all the guys that we could have hired that are realistic, this is the best hire we ever could have made. So kudos to Ryan Day. Congratulations. You have a head coach of the defense who has called plays in the Super Bowl, has beaten Kyle Shanahan head to head when they had MVP Matt Ryan, has beaten Pete Carroll when they had Marshawn Lynch and Russell Wilson. I mean, this is a guy who's dominating. I'm very excited about it, and I'm excited to see him go toe-to-toe with Steve Sarkisian week 1. So we're going to get into all that. Guys, if you guys enjoy our content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. You're going to help us out in a huge way. Get on your iPhone right now. Get on Apple Podcasts, type in Buckeye Scoop, click subscribe, and also make sure you spread our YouTube around to everyone. We are chasing milestones at this point. We are monstrous. Thanks to you guys. We appreciate you guys spreading the good word. Text the link to this YouTube video to your friends. Say, hey, subscribe to Buckeye Scoop. It's the best free content on the internet. And we are on every night at 7:10. And we appreciate you guys always kicking on us. Love you guys to death. Thank you, Scoop family. Make sure you guys shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. And I want to hear in the comments. What do you think about Matt Patricia? How do you grade the hire? Give me an A to F. Let me know. I give it an A+. But I've studied a lot of football. Studied a lot about Patricia over the last 5 days. And very excited about it. So with that being said, let's bring in Nevadabuck. Nevada, how are you tonight? And how are you grading the Matt Patricia hire as we head into the 2025 spring football schedule?
Well, I've been very excited about the Matt Patricia hire and got a little bit more excited. You had a chance to have a extended conversation with a helping technician who's one of the great insiders on our BuckeyeScoop.com message board, and helping technician kind of graced us with a little bit of a inside baseball on the hire, kind of on his feelings about Matt Patricia, and he's excited. I mean, he's excited, and he doesn't get excited about much. So that made me even more excited about the hire. I think that what according to helping technician, Joe Cullen was a guy that had a lot of traction with Ryan Day, but that Matt Patricia's agent reached out early last week and told him that there was interest, and that Matt had genuine interest in kind of the challenge of the college game and dealing with that. Wanted to do it at the highest levels. At that point, Ryan was all in on that idea, and here we go. A week later, and he's the new DC. I really didn't think it was possible for Ryan to upgrade from Jim Knowles, but I really thought Jim Knowles was the best DC in all of college football the last 2 years. And now he goes on and gets a guy who is probably the only person on earth that has been an NFL head coach, an NFL defensive coordinator, and an NFL offensive coordinator. So to get a guy that kind of wraps up all 3 of those things, and he's now the DC at Ohio State, just a fantastic day. You're great for the defensive staff. I know they are excited. I know the players are excited. This is a big one. This is a big one. Like the Ryan Hartline hire is great because it fires up JJ and it fires up Ennis, and those kind of keeps them around and recognize it. But this is one that's seismic, man. This is one that impresses the other staff members, gets the guys going, and I don't know how long he'll be here because that's unknowable. You can say, hey, I'm going to be there for 2 years, I'm going to be there for 3 years, but it's unknowable. But as long as he's here, he's going to have an impact. And I can tell you that the guys, they're excited to be around him. They're excited to see what he can do with his install here in the spring. And I just think this is a great, great day for Ohio State fans. And I understand there's a segment of the fan base that isn't excited. That's okay. I'm just telling you, you should be. You should be excited because this is a good one. This isn't a media. This isn't a B plus hire. This isn't an A minus hire. This is an A plus hire by Ryan Day. And we always tell you this: if Ryan Day screws up, we'll be the first one to tell you. Ryan Day has knocked it out of the park with this one, and I'm super excited and can't wait to see what he's going to do.
Well, I mean, I know Chico's fired up, which is good because Chico knows what a great coordinator looks like. Because Chico's name was almost Knowlesy until Knowlesy left for Penn State. So Knowlesy McChico barking in the background, it adds a little flavor to this. But I just, for the life of me, I can't understand why people wouldn't be excited about this. I know that you can judge coaches based upon their worst moments. You could judge Ryan Day on getting smashed by Missouri in the Cotton Bowl last year and say, well, he sucks and he's terrible and he's lost. He's 1-5 in big games versus top 10 opponents or top 5, whatever the stat was leading to the playoffs, like losing to Michigan. You can judge him on the worst thing. So I get a lot of the, well, he sucked at Detroit, and again, Detroit's roster is terrible. And again, I was up in Detroit. And honestly, the Detroit Lions are a great organization. I mean, the Ford family is excellent. The facility is gorgeous. I mean, they treat the players amazing. So I've even though they're in the state of Michigan, and I'm supposed to hate the state of Michigan, I love the Detroit Lions. I love the atmosphere. I love the fan base. I love everything about it. But I know that there's a lot of sourpussness that comes with Matt Patricia being a failure up there. But look at the roster he's dealing with. I don't think it was that great. So, and the second that he got let go in Detroit, then guess what? He goes right back to New England. And Bill Belichick, who's the sharpest, hardest working coach in the history of the NFL, makes him the offensive coordinator, makes him the offensive line coach, helped Mac Jones have his best season. So, again, we were talking about this earlier, and if you guys want to earn a bonus point with us, tell me how many coaches in the history of the National Football League have been a head coach, an offensive coordinator, and a defensive coordinator. Because I don't think I've ever heard of it. And I was trying to find it, and I was Googling it, and it might exist. Never heard of it. Not sure, but he has been. So it shows how wicked smart is, because this isn't like he got, promoted to be the offensive coordinator because his father-in-law coached the team or something and they didn't have any other spot. It was like, no, this is Bill Belichick. I mean, he can hire anybody. He's had Bill O'Brien and, Josh McDaniels and Charlie Weiss, some of the best offensive minds and development guys that we've ever seen. So I don't know. I think Matt Patricia, when I think about what is the best overall scenario for what's going on with Ohio State, I think about Brian Hartline is now the play caller. Ryan Day, impressed with Brian's development, impressed with how Brian, the things I've been told about Brian Hartline was a guy that was promoted to be the offensive coordinator. Did he deserve that? Maybe. I mean, his recruiting was just so out of this world good that they kind of had to bump him up and pay him, a significant, $2 million or whatever he made. But was he ready to truly be an offensive coordinator? I don't think so. He had some off the field stuff that happened around the spring game, flipped his side by side. Wasn't a great look by Brian. He knows that. I think hopefully he's grown up a little bit. And so, Ryan didn't trust him. Ryan ended up calling the plays, and that doesn't really accomplish what you need when you hire an offensive coordinator. So then next year he brings in Chip Kelly. Chip obviously there isn't a human on this earth outside of maybe his wife or his kids that he trusts more than Chip Kelly. So when he lets Chip call the plays, he's not worried about anything. And, Chip is, if you said, Kirk, give me your Mount Rushmore of all time offensive football minds at any level, Chip Kelly's on my Mount Rushmore, the top four. I mean, him, Bill Walsh, and, maybe I don't know if it's Mike Shanahan or some of these guys that have had these big expansive coaching trees. But I mean, Chip Kelly's on my Mount Rushmore of all time offensive coaches because what he's done with a variety of stuff, especially in the running game. But he's excellent. So he shows up, and I think that pushed Brian, and I think Brian got a lot better. I think down the stretch he really got strong, and when you kind of get like soft demoted the way that Brian did, again, it wasn't a public humiliation or execution, but when they make you the offensive coordinator, and then after a year where they again, it was already kind of like a mini demotion because there was a thought that when you're the offensive coordinator, you're supposed to be the play caller, but then all of a sudden they take that from him, and Ryan calls the plays for the whole season, and then after the season doesn't go the way they want it, they're like, well, do we really trust Brian to be the OC, or do we have to go get an adult? So we go get Chip Kelly, who came, we get Bill O'Brien first, and we get Chip Kelly. So again, and I'm fine. Brian's young, so it's not like Brian's 55 years old and been coaching for 50 years. It's like, no, this is a guy that's a young guy learning still. So let's go get Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien's coached Tom Brady and a lot. And then he goes to BC, and then he goes, let's go get Chip Kelly. So I think that that all happened. It all went great, and now I think that with where Brian is now, he's got a chance to really make a mark and kind of go after being the next potential head coach at Ohio State. So how do you make Brian better? Go get a Mariano Rivera. If Brian's in the batter's box, go get the hardest guy you can possibly go in. It's like Matt Patricia is that guy. This is a guy tireless. I mean, New England, there's a reason why players hated playing in New England for Bill Belichick is because it was like hell on earth for players because they'd have to get there early, film study, cold calling, low lights where they'd put the worst plays of the day on the screen and humiliate you in front of the whole team. And that was the culture. It was like a culture of, wanting to push for excellence, and it's not for everybody. And it's long hours and it's tough. And, those coaches get, grinded into mincemeat because, Bill Belichick was not for the faint of heart to work for him. I mean, and Nick Saban, who is one of the toughest hombres to ever be a head coach and on the sideline, will talk about how when he worked for Bill Belichick, it was the hardest period of his life because Nick Saban is not that's not some picnic working for Nick Saban. I mean, I had coaches that I played for that called him Nick Satan because he worked so much and so hard and he was so condescending and crazy, which again, I'm fine with. In coaching, everything's kind of off limits. But when Belichick is the guy and he wants stuff done a certain way, it's not some half-assed activity where it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna kind of scout the team this week. I'm gonna no, it's like you're doing an insane level of detail, an insane level of study, an insane level of preparation. And that is what Matt Patricia is. And Matt Patricia was his DC, and again, when a guy is on a certain side of the ball, like he's a defensive coordinator, he's made tens of $1 million coordinating and then becomes a head coach, then, when he's putting somebody in his chair, he's going to be really good. So when he makes Matt Patricia his DC and hands him the play sheet and says, all right, you call it, you do the defensive scheme, it's got to be to my standard, the standard of the best defensive mind in the history of football. And that's the guy that he picks. Then I'm sold. I'm good. Do I care if he sucked at Philadelphia his last stop when he had to take over a sinking ship 8 games into the season and do the last 8 games? No, that's not his defense. He didn't get to install it and go through OTAs and talk through the players. And this is why we do stuff. By the time he took that thing over, I mean, if you say, Kirk, go save this building that is engulfed in flames and it's got a nuclear bomb in the middle of it's about to blow up, go run in there and save it. And if it blows up and it smolders down to the ground or it's nothing but a black hole in the middle of the earth, and you say, oh, Kirk, well, you couldn't save the building, so you suck. You're terrible. You don't know what you're doing. I'm like, well, that's what it's like when you're a coordinator, you take over the middle of the season. There's 1 out of 100 times where it works and they go on to win the Super Bowl. But the other times, usually it leads to the whole staff getting fired because it crashes and burns. So I don't know. I refuse to judge a coach by his worst the Detroit Lions episode and the Philadelphia Eagles last 8 games after the team had already crashed into the mountain was burning. I don't judge him on that. I judge him on what does Bill Belichick think of him? People are like, well, he didn't go to Carolina. I said, well, yes, damn, his son's going to be the coach in waiting. That was the part of the deal. So, and Matt Patricia's got tens of millions of dollars in the bank account. He doesn't have to take any job. But when Ohio State comes available, he can do it. So I don't know. I just like I said, I am ecstatic about this because I think that this will help Brian Hartline. The 3 people that'll benefit the most that aren't players: Hartline, James Laurinaitis, Matt Greene. Because those are young coaches that are trying to make it in the business, and Matt Patricia's seen it all. He's worked for the hardest guy in the universe to work for, and he's his right hand. And he's seen a bad head coaching stint, and now he's got a chance to really impact these young coaches and show them this is how we do it the New England way, which again I'm good with because it's thorough and it's really, really good when they got it cooking. Nevada, any thoughts? And we'll dig into some super chats.
Yeah, I'm going to correct you on a couple things. First of all, it was not Chico that was barking. It was Kirby that was barking. Chico was very quiet during that. Kirby wanted a biscuit, so I had to give him a biscuit. Secondly, I'm going to add another person to your most helped list. That's going to be Ryan Day, just because having a big dog on the defensive side is such a blessing for a coach like Day, because his natural inclination is to lean towards the offensive side, lean into the quarterback coaching. It's what he does. It's who he is. And he can only do that when he's got somebody that's beyond capable, a guy that can manage all the internal politics of dealing with a grumpy old bird like Larry Johnson and young guns like Matt G and James Laurinaitis, and manage Tim Walton's expectations about his career path. And so I just think for Ryan, this was a big one because you're already breaking in kind of a new internal hire on the offensive side. Could he really do that again on the defensive side? And I think the answer is no. I think this is why when his name became available, I think this became a no-brainer for him. As you mentioned, for Patricia, this isn't about the money. This is about a different type of talent. He's got plenty of money, and he never has to coach again. If he never took another coaching job and just went around and podcasted and went to games and hung out with McAfee, and I mean, he could do that the rest of his life. But these guys love to coach. They love to have new challenges. They love to deal with new situations. And he had talked about, earlier in the week about the college game and how attractive that was. He was talking about Ohio State. And I think that when he came available, this was an obvious pick. I'm so glad that because sometimes obvious picks the love connections don't get made, but in this case they did, and I'm beyond excited. I think next year our defense is going to take a step back, and that's because it's not about the X and O's, but we're losing an awful lot of Jimmy's and Joe's on the defensive side. But this gives us the best chance to put our best foot forward next year. And so, will we be as good as we were this year? Not likely. But will we be the best we can be under the circumstances? I have no doubt. And the best that we can be could be good enough that's going to be good enough to have a chip in a chair and a shot, because there are no super teams next year. I can already tell you there's no super team in college football next year. The closest thing to being like a complete team is Penn State, and Drew Aller's asked, my dude, and they're coming to Columbus to play. So, I like our chances in that game. I like our chances in a playoff, and I sure like our chances with our defense with an old head like Matt Patricia calling defense. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm with you, and again, it's a very easy, simple bet to say we're not going to be as good as last year, because again, last year's talent was the best we've ever had in the history of the program. I played on teams that were close. 15 was probably second. 05 is probably third in terms of the amount of time. 98 and some of the other teams are great, but we were loaded last year, and we had 2 incredible coordinators in Jim Knowles and Chip Kelly. So we're going to take a step back. And again, so when we're not as good, during the season or beginning of the season, whatever, like I can't just hang it on Matt Patricia sucking, because that'll be the smooth brained response is that Matt Patricia sucks. He's no good. He sucks. Fire him. Get rid of him. He's terrible. And I'm like, well, like, are our guys playing well enough? Is our D line in the same stratosphere as the guys from last year, like JT and Jack and Tyleek and Ty? I mean, those are 4 NFL guys, and they're not just NFL guys. Those are like all 10-year NFL guys. So I don't know. It's tough, but the thing about Matt Patricia is he's done a lot of ginning up the pressure, ginning up the defense after he's lost significant talent, which is a big reason why I liked him, because it's like, it's hard when you're in the NFL and you lose really good players because organizational philosophy or head coach philosophy or whatever. Because I mean, Matt Patricia had to replace like Aqib Talib, who was a Pro Bowler. Then they had Revis for 1 year, Pro Bowler. They dumped Laurie Malloy, they dumped Richard Seymour, they dumped Will Fork. They just were the kings of dumping guys that you'd say, well, why would they ever trade Richard Seymour? I mean, Richard Seymour, now they got 2 first-round picks for him because he was 27 years old and 28 years old, one of the best players in the league. But like when you're the coordinator, you're like, well, how the hell are we supposed to be as good when we just lost a Pro Bowl, all-pro defensive end, 2 weeks? I mean, they traded him in training camp. It was like 2 weeks. So it's like he's used to replacing guys and getting it ginned up. So I think that helps him, because again, there's a great mentality with, New England where it's like, it's kind of like with Ohio State where we talk about competitive excellence, where if somebody gets hurt and the backup has to go in, he has to perform at the same level, which again, there's no greater example in the history of Ohio State football than the offensive line in 2024, where you lose Josh Simmons, who, again, if you look at mock drafts, if you guys are draft nicks that follow the NFL draft, Field Yates, who is the lead NFL draft guy, aside from Mel Kiper, had Josh Simmons going 11th overall in the draft to the 49ers. So he's a top 15 pick consensus at this point, and we lose him. And somehow we actually got better on the offensive line. The Zen Mikulski thing didn't go great. He ended up getting hurt. Put Donnie out at left tackle. Donnie, after the Abdul Carter fiasco, really turned it up and played really well. You lose Seth McLaughlin, who won the Remington, and Carson steps into center and dominates, wins the national title. So again, that's something that I think, Matt Patricia can use that as kind of an inspiration when you lose not guys to injury, but you just lose guys to the draft like Jack Story and JT and, Cody Simon. And we're not just losing like role players. We're losing like guys that, Cody Simon should have been a first team All-American. If we didn't have the laziest and most worthless sports information director in the world, in Jerry Emig, then he's a first team All-American. I watched his tape and Pro Football Focus here. I'll read you what someone texted me about Cody Simon. And we'll get into the super chats, but, I had somebody who's really, really smart and really knows linebackers say Cody Simon finished 2024 as the most valuable linebacker in the nation, according to Pro Football Focus. Wins above average metric. He was particularly dominant as a run defender, finishing third among FBS linebackers with a 90.8 run defense grade. Simon also sacked the quarterback 5 times, tied for fourth among all linebackers in the country. Now, mind you, he also missed a game. So he was a little shorter than some of the other guys. But, Cody he didn't even make both the all Big Ten teams. He only made the media team. He didn't make the coaches team because we don't promote him. So I'm not getting into that. So, all right, Nevada, any thoughts? We'll do some super chats.
No, just kind of an unrelated but related topic. Saw an interview with Ryan Day. He was talking about a variety of different things, but he was talking about the crowd at the Tennessee game and how it just felt different. And it's funny because I'd written that on the message board earlier. I'm like, I couldn't really put my finger on it, but for those people that were there, it just felt different. It was a hardcore group of fans. So, it's also great. I've just been kind of going back through, kind of enjoying the season. Saw some of the highlights from the Tennessee game, and again, I just want to shout out the Tennessee guy. If you were there, man, you were part of what I consider to be the greatest crowd performance in Ohio State history, because there wasn't as many of us as there. It's not like 101,000 to 2 like it is in a normal Ohio State Texas game or whatever it was. There was a lot of Tennessee fans there, but for the Ohio State fans, man, they really pulled it out, and I think that's really what kind of propelled Ohio State onto this national championship run was that night. I mean, that night, that's when it started believing. That's when everybody kind of re-engaged. But that was a great memory. I just wanted to shout that out.
Must have been nice to be there, but I
Yeah,
regress.
were you there? Oh no, you were not there. You were not there. You were at home eating chicken wings or something else like that.
No,
like,
I actually,
no, I don't want to
actually,
come to the game.
I fell asleep. I fell asleep and died.
Up.
So we didn't even do a post game that night because I was so tired. I fell asleep.
You
you're
fell
blowing
asleep.
my phone.
You did.
Kirk, are you gonna do a post game? I was like, nope. Sorry. Enjoy it. Go sit there with your hot cocoa and go drive yourself and have a good time, sweetie, sweetie McSweetheart.
It was
good.
so much fun.
Fun.
It was so much fun. So much.
Did you get invoice for that cocoa by the ounce? Probably. I guess probably.
I did not. I didn't.
Because you know why? Because you left in the third quarter before the invoice showed up for the tab. You're like, so you had to get bailed out again, the bailout fund. So they call you Nevada bail.
Leave early, man. Don't ever be around when the check comes. Yes, there you go. Tips for
That's right. Just say, hey, we had to go pick the kids up at the babysitter. You don't have any kids. Oh, my kids are all 30 years old. Perfect. So babysitter is 50. All right. Pooh Beard 12, thanks for the 5. Thanks for being off as well. The OSU beat. Oh my God, my heroes. This is the best way to start off a super chat with me, my man. As a whole, is not excited about the hire. Seems like slam dunk to me. Do you think there's jealousy that Patricia lost all that weight? Nevada, I'll let you go first.
I knew that. I was gonna. If he didn't go there, I was gonna go there. I'm like,
because
he dropped 100 pounds, man.
Yep.
They hate those fatties. Hate those thin guys now. They hate them. You know that. There's nothing worse that a fatty hates than a guy that used to be a fatty that's now a thinny. And Patricia's looking good. Dropped 100 pounds. Looking good. Looking healthy. And those guys are just reminded about how unhealthy they are and how they're all going to die early. And yeah, it makes them sad. So they don't like it.
Are they sad pandas?
They're big, chubby pandas. They're big roly-poly pandas. They eat that bamboo, man.
Big angry John. He was bad he was really bad at Philadelphia the last 8 games, and I know offensive line play, even though I'm not very smart, not very good at what I do. But
I got to call out one particularly bad one. Kyle Rowland from the Toledo Blade came in with something where he's like, look where his defenses were ranked, and what he ranked them by was by yards per game. He didn't mention that in points per game they're like in top third, and so he picked like the worst.
The yards.
Disgusting.
I think that your mic got so hot that you muted yourself mid sentence. He's coming back now. But yeah, I like I always say, guys, I don't care about yards. Yards are irrelevant to me. Brady Lang, thank you for the 10. Appreciate you. Love this hire. The guy was an NFL head coach, for goodness sakes. If we've learned anything the last couple of years, it's that we should trust stay on the stuff. We'll need to add some grit to the defense. I totally agree. Yeah, like I said, he was an NFL head coach, and it didn't work out. But as soon as he got fired, Belichick hired him immediately to coach the other side of the ball. So that's got to count for something, right? Nevada, Brady Lang, again, thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, my man. He says, thanks. I love this hire. The guy was an NFL head coach, for goodness sakes. If we've learned anything the last couple of years, so we should trust stay on the stuff. He will add some grit to the defense. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
I just want to shout out Ryan Day. Just the growth in Ryan Day, and I know that comes with winning a national championship, and it comes with, but man, he's a different guy now. He's a different guy, and if I had 99.9% confidence in Ryan Day before this, I am absolutely all in 100% confidence with Ryan Day to make the right hires, to make the right decisions. I mean, we are absolutely blessed to have a coach who is operating at the absolute peak of his profession at age 45 as the head coach at the Ohio State University. And so, yeah, I have full faith in his decision on this. And he's not taking any prisoners, and he's not pulling any punches, and he's completely confident in his abilities, and this is a confident hire. This is a guy that went out and swung big and got a big dog to come to Ohio State. So yeah, no, I'm all in with it, and big shout out to Ryan Day on making a move like this.
Mike Greene, thank you for the 5. This is genius, Mike. I appreciate you. Love you, my dude. Thanks for being on here every night. What's funny is when Nick Saban hires the Bad News Bears coaching staff, he's a genius. But when Ohio State does it, it's a terrible hire. Nevada, Mike Greene has hit it out of the park with that phrase. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it is funny. It is funny. It's just, hey man, as they talked about, these are champagne problems that you have when you win national championships in college football. You're going to lose staff, and when you're going to lose staff, you have a couple ways to do it. I mean, you can either look to kind of maintain and kind of go along, or you can look to upgrade. And clearly, Ryan Day is looking to upgrade, and went for it on the defensive side. It's a formula that Nick Saban perfected and had really done an unbelievable job in terms of doing it. And I really believe that Ryan Day is ready to go on a dynastic run with Ohio State. And I think he's going to follow in Nick Saban's footsteps, and hopefully for as long as Nick Saban did it in the college ranks, because that would mean good things for OSU football.
It's kind of like you're on a dynastic run with DoorDash.
I am. I'm like that elite club, that platinum club with DoorDash, where they come in and they thank me and stuff like that. They throw an extra.
They come in and they put a bib on you, and they put
they
got like the white gloves on, and they got like the big silver platter that they lift it up, and here's your $5 guys, my good sir.
They'll burp me after meals and stuff like that. It's awesome. I mean, it's amazing. I order every meal from DoorDash. It's fantastic.
They'll say, sir, are you ready to rent another nugget? You're like, no, please burp me one more time. It's like, can you crack my knuckles too, please? You have to rent another nugget.
Change me.
Can you roll me over on my side so I don't die? God.
Oh boy.
Oh God, the beat doesn't like the Matt Patricia hire. Oh my God. Let me know when they get one thing right ever.
Oh, yeah. They hated Chip Kelly. They hated Jim Knowles. They hated Will Howard. They hated all. Go back and look at what these people wrote on this stuff, and it's just like they've been wrong about everything. Everything they've been wrong about. So this one, they
hate us, but they watch everything that we do and write because
they have to get information.
They gotta figure out what's going on. So I mean, I get it. I totally get it. I appreciate the views too. Justin Adams, thanks for the 10. Did you guys see that Tennessee woman flipping our players off for the greatest run video?
No. She was saying that we're number one. She was saying Ohio State is number one. So
the 145 mark. If you miss it, what a classy woman. Shake my head. I mean, that chick, for one, she was built like Steve Rearing with a wig on, so it wasn't real pretty, but she'd love to troll Sister Crusher. I mean, that screenshot has been on Twitter, I think, more than anything in the entire world, where it's like big fat Tennessee chick flicking someone off. By the way, also, I think that they finally actually announced that Tyler Bowen is the new running game coordinator, so that's fine. That's good. It's funny, Ryan announced that on that Dom Taveri interview. Yeah, I don't think they officially had announced it yet, but our SID who's boogieing is kind of slow on the draw. We still don't have that as official yet, but Ryan announced it on an interview tonight, so that's kind of interesting. I'll find a photo of that lady, but yeah, it was funny because again, when you walk into the skull, from the skull session, you're used to seeing people flick you off, but usually not at home. But it was kind of interesting to see that. She was not very thrilled with this. Don Shaver, thanks for the 20. Thanks for being an ultra member as well. Kirk, you're going to have to walk us through the O-line challenges of dealing with constantly changing D-line fronts and looks. 4-3, 3-4, 2-5. Bear, etc. Time to teach. Love the hire. Go Bucks. Nevada OH. It's a total pain in the ass. And when Matt Patricia does his two, again, he runs sometimes he runs a 2-4-5. So I know that's not conventional, but he'll run 2 down guys, 4 linebackers, and 5 DBs. And when there's 4 linebackers that are guys that can rush, you have no idea where it's going to come from. Because there's going to be 4 guys. Yeah, there's going to be 4 guys that rush the passer. You just don't know which 4 and where they're going to come from. So it's like you got to kind of keep your head on a swivel, and you can't turn the protections as easy. So it's not as obviously it's not as conventional as the regular 4 down or even a 3 down. You go 2 down, it's going to be crazy. So, but he likes to do that. He loves simulated pressures. I didn't get into an argument, but there was a really dumb human being that said that any blitz from depth is a blitz. Any linebacker that comes from depth is a blitz. I was like, if they only bring 4 guys, it's not a blitz. You got to bring at least 5 for it to be a blitz. You bring 4, it's just regular pressure. You know, it's a sim pressure because you're bringing a linebacker instead of a defensive end or a defensive tackle. But you know, that's what is in vogue right now, and he's really good at it. So again, like I wouldn't be sitting here because I don't know Matt Patricia. I've studied his stuff, and I've studied what Belichick does and what like Brian Flores does, because they're all from the same room. Like Brian Flores was with Matt Patricia and Belichick, and some of the crazy stuff that he runs, like that's where he got that from New England. You know, where he runs all these crazy things that makes these quarterbacks lose their mind and throw picks and turn the ball over. So I don't know. I love it, and I think it's going to really push Brian Hartline to be better, because Brian can't just walk into a practice where he's calling plays against Matt Patricia and just roll the play sheet out there, roll the ball out there, and hope it goes well. He's got to be like, well, if I do this, how's Matt Patricia going to react to it, and how's he going to check it? Now, what do I have to do to get him to check this into that? And I mean, it's a whole different level than when you're going against like Matt Guerrieri, who's called plays for the Duke versus Citadel game. Big difference. It's just my opinion. But I appreciate you, Don. Mike Greene, again, I appreciate you, my dude. Hope you are having a good night. Thanks for a second super chat. Thanks for the deuce. Have people forget what Matt did with Patrick Chung? Yes, they have. Because they're not very smart. Patrick Chung was kind of like, he's nowhere near as good as Caleb Downs, but they did some funky stuff with Patrick Chung where it was able to help combat the spread offense, moved him down a little bit, kind of had him play that kind of like a big nickel, big Sam linebacker type thing. When teams were doing 2 tight ends and going 12 personnel, they used Patrick Chung as a guy that they couldn't dominate. Because, you know, the thing is, like, you have 2 tight ends. Like, when New England's offense was probably at their best was when they had Gronk and Aaron Hernandez. And Aaron Hernandez is obviously a piece of trash, and he's dead and killed somebody and everything else. But when he was a football player and playing with Gronk, like that was a major problem for defenses. So if you didn't have somebody like Patrick Chung, who is a super athletic, humongous safety, who was physical as the day is long and really smart, like it's hard to match up with Aaron Hernandez, because like you put him against a linebacker, he's got to destroy him and cover. I mean, the linebacker can cover Aaron Hernandez in his peak. And he can also get on you and block like Gronk could. Gronk's one of the best blocking tight ends who's ever lived. I mean, Gronk is the best tight end who's ever lived. It's not even close. But you know, he was also a murderer as a blocker. So that's why I got like Patrick Chung was so valuable. So like Caleb Downs so valuable because Caleb Downs he's not huge, but he's very physical. He's very smart. And he's the guy that can match up versus those 12 personnel guys, which is a big reason why I think Matt Patricia wanted this job, is because there are some guys in place that can be really good. Now you have to gin it up a little bit on the D line to figure out a way to generate pressure from the edges. But other than that, a lot of pieces to like and a lot of good players to work with. Nevada, your thoughts? Do you think that people forgot about what Matt Patricia did with Patrick Chung in New England?
Well, yeah, I think they do. And, you know, while this isn't exactly on point, it just watching and hearing Matt Patricia talk about how that whole goal line sequence went down, and the very famous play where Seattle had it first or whatever from the 1 yard line to win the Super Bowl. And he had noticed what they do. He baited Russell Wilson with a defensive call that caused Russell Wilson to switch from a run to a pass. And then they jumped the route and they had the interception to save the Super. That was all Patricia. And that was all like an install the day before on the walkthrough. They hadn't even practiced it. And that was literally all tactical. He literally baited him, set up a defense, that caused Russell Wilson to go away from running Marshawn Lynch into the end zone. He knew they liked to pass, run that little pick play. They jumped it and they won the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I don't know how many people can say that they've done that where they've literally, uh, I know Super Bowls, comprised of a lot of plays, a lot of things, but he literally won the Super Bowl with a defensive call. And I just think it's one of the great stories. And if you haven't seen that, call that up. It's on YouTube. I can't remember exactly. You talked about it several times, but it's fascinating. And that was all Matt Patricia. And that's the kind of stuff he's going to be bringing to the Ohio State Buckeyes.
It's gimmicky though.
Gimmicky
defense. Rolling Coconut. Thank you for being ultra. Thanks for the 5. RP to Jim Karsatos. You were a solid QB, good teammate, and always kind. Your teammates in Buckeye Nation send love. Nevada OH.
IO.
Hashtag JK, hashtag 16, hashtag EB. Also, I'll obviously have to say a rest in peace to Ben Christman. Terrible. I have no idea what happened in Vegas, but got a lot of texts from a lot of guys that played with him and said how great he was. And Nick Petit, for a lot of these guys blowing my phone up, and I just terrible. Feel terrible for his family. Obviously, I thought he was going to start this year. I mean, Corey Dennis is the offensive coordinator, and they were bringing him out there, and Mike Salini is the O-line coach, so he had the Ohio State thing on, so he was going to start there this year. So absolute tragedy, terrible. So yeah, I mean, again, there's nothing that could imagine to be worse than burying a child. So it's horrible. There's no other way to code it. So Nevada, your thoughts on Jim Karsatos and Ben Christman resting in peace?
Yeah, terrible stories, and I put this on the board, but it's kind of a funny story. I met Jim Karsatos in high school. We played badminton against each other because I played badminton my last semester of my senior year, because they had the football coach took over the badminton team, and he's like, "Hey, I don't have any boys out here," and there's like 30 girls, and I'm like, "I am in. I'll play badminton." And I actually met him at the CIF. He was a big stud. We were one of the few guys that were there, and we hung out the whole day. And he ended up being the quarterback in Ohio State. So Jim Karsatos, he was a heck of a badminton player too. As great a football player as he was, he might have been a better badminton player. But he was a great athlete, great guy, underrated quarterback at Ohio State. And yeah, that's that tragic story. Hate seeing guys like that. Hate seeing anybody die, but that certainly brings it home. Somebody somebody about my same age. And the Ben Christman thing is just beyond tragic. I don't even have words for that. And terrible prayers to both families, and just really, really sad.
I just got invited. I just got a note that says you're cordially invited to the swearing-in ceremony of Jim Tressel as Lieutenant Governor of the state of Ohio.
Oh wow, you got to go to that.
Oh hell yeah, I'm going. You know,
I'm
going to go there because as soon as he puts his hand up and say, "You know who had it? Scoop had it.
Scoop had it first. Scoop had it first. Exactly. You bring out the Scoop flag. Come out there like that Gaza demonstrator during the Kendall Lamar.
Exactly.
You put the Buckeye Scoop.
Did you just say Kendall Lamar? Oh my God!
Lamar. Kendall, whatever. Kendrick Lamar.
You're whiter than mayonnaise in the sun.
Oh man. I'm a Drake fan. I'm a Drake fan.
I am too. I think Kendrick Lamar is the most overrated rapper of all time. I love Drake.
I like it's like Drizzy.
Dude, like the fact they didn't have Lil Wayne and Bootsy at the halftime. People were like, "Oh, it's just because you're a hater." I was like, "No, it's like they should have. They're in Louisiana. You can't put Lil Wayne and Bootsy up on the stage." Oh my God, that would have been the greatest halftime show of all time. Instead, they put Kendrick Lamar and his old 5'2" ass up there. Terrible.
Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne's legit.
Lil Wayne.
All right. District Fire, thanks for the 20. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, timeout for 2 guys that passed today. Jim Karsatos 61. Ben Christman. God, Ben's only 21. It's brutal. Rest in peace. Yeah, heartbreaking. It's the only way you can describe it. It's heartbreaking. I mean, dude, a 21-year-old kid who, I don't know. It's terrible, but prayers to those guys. And Jim Karsatos, when he did sideline for the Fan, was a guy that was really, really good to me. You know, he didn't have to be, but I was just a player, and I was always real nice to the sideline guys. And Marty Bannister did sideline when I was coaching. I used to love Marty. He'd be down there, and I'd go up and see Big Daddy Paul Keels and Jim Lachey, who I love to death. I go see them.
Third and 11, big play in Ohio State. Deep pass, J.J. Smith with the catch. Ohio State first down.
You're the hater, Jesus.
Come on. Big Daddy, come on. How was that? Ohio State, 4th down and 1. Miami got the ball for the national championship. C. Grant comes in. Oh, pass incomplete. Ohio State wins the national championship. Well done, Buckeyes.
Is that what the call was really like? That's what was. Well done.
Well done, Buckeyes.
Well
Buckeyes.
done.
Way to go.
Well done.
Buckeyes.
It's 11:17. We still have time to get to Jack in the Box. Jack in the Box is exclusive to the West Coast, and In-N-Out Burger closes at 11 o'clock on a Monday night in Phoenix.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does.
Until 1 a.m. 1 a.m. on Monday.
In-N-Out is? No, they're not.
Yeah. 1 a.m., Bubba.
Shut the hell up. Seriously? When I went to In-N-Out after we lost to Florida, they laughed at me and told me to keep going, keep on.
That's why In-N-Out is the greatest hamburger chain in the world, man. 1 a.m. 1 a.m.
I swear to God, on Monday night they were not open to 1 a.m. All I wanted after we got our teeth kicked in by the Florida Gators, I was like, can I please at least get like an In-N-Out burger to drown my tears and some animal sauce? Like, nope. Well, take yourself to Jack in the Box.
I've got Paul Keels calling that. Kirk Barton going up to In-N-Out Burger.
Go up to the drive-thru.
No, it's closed, sir. We'll not be open till tomorrow morning. Goodbye, Kirk. And Kirk, you're a loser. You lost.
Sorry, we already got Jarvis Moss and Derek Harvey here eating all. Derek Harvey and Jarvis Moss ate all your lunch. You don't get no lunch.
Double, only for winners. Only for winners.
Only for Tebow. Tebow and Percy Harvin. Oh my God. Brady Lang, thanks for this. R.I.P. Ben Christman. It's terrible. Like, I mean, I feel so bad for Ben and his family. Like I said, it's like this kid was gonna start this year. He finally found a spot. You know, he was at Ohio State and went to Kentucky and goes to UNLV, and he's got his line coach that loved him, and Corey Dennis loved him, and it's terrible. I mean, 21 years old, I couldn't even imagine. So, RIP to Ben, man. We got to celebrate that kid. It's just, it sucks. I mean, and you see how many of his former, like Josh Fryer and Nick Petit, and all these kids are shouting him out. And I mean, they all loved this kid, you know, and he wasn't at Ohio State for real long, maybe a year or two, but it stinks. It's terrible. I don't know. Johnny D, thank you for being ultra. Thanks for being, thank you for the 5. Matt Patricia must have heard a lot of widow feelings up north. Scum and Lions fans are gloating about this. Very odd. Looking forward to him winning in Ann Arbor. I mean, he wasn't great as a head coach for the Lions, but who was? You know, obviously Dan Campbell's had the greatest run ever for a Lions coach, but I was up there, and the year before I got there, they were 0-16. And then I got there, they were 2-14. So it was terrible. So, I mean, they've never been good. I don't know. Let them gloat. That's fine. I'm excited about Matty P. Nevada, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like, it didn't matter who we hired. They're gonna claim whatever, and it's cope. I mean, they know that they're irrelevant. We're the national champions, and they got the NCAA hammer coming to hammer them into oblivion on top of the fact that they suck and they have a mediocre head coach. So they got a lot of bad things. And then they got Wink Martindale as their defensive coordinator. So Michigan fans have nothing to say to us. 5 losses, celebrate like they won the 5-loss national championship.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know? Oh my gosh. I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know who they'd be more excited about. I mean, do you promote Tim Walton and Matt Guerrieri? Do you Joe Cullen, Randy? Like, none of those guys are anywhere near my excitement for Matt Patricia. Just being real. I mean, it's what it is. This is great. Sean, thanks for the 5. The fans complaining about the Patricia hire are the same fans who danced in the streets when Combs was hired. Great hire right out of the Saban playbook. Totally agree. And again, the fans that hated Chip Kelly getting hired and hated Will Howard coming here and hated basically everything. I mean, they would hate, cookie dough ice cream or something, or they would hate a new Mercedes-Benz delivered in their driveway just because that's just their MO. They hate everything. So I don't listen to morons because, again, I do a lot of research to formulate my opinion, and I love the hire. Nevada, your thoughts on the fans who complain about Matt Patricia are the same ones who danced in the streets when Kerry Combs was hired. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's the same people. I mean, again, remember, Will Howard was called not OSU caliber. He was being run out of Kansas State.
Couldn't throw a deep ball.
Couldn't throw the deep ball. Oh, that was
he had the highest deep ball percentage completion in the entire nation per advanced analytics.
He was the best
deep ball in the country.
And when the game was on the line for the national championship for Ryan Day's career, his legacy, his life, they threw a deep ball from Will Howard, which is just like the ultimate. It's just like, what? What are you guys talking about? And I used to have these just running arguments with people that are like, he can't throw the deep ball. And I'm like, no, he can't. He's actually really good. So come on. But what can I say?
Well, it's like when you say it's just like the flu. All right. Ohio 7715. They can all remember. Thank you for the 20. The OGs remember that one. Now, what's up, fellas? What's up, Dev? Shout out to Scoop fam. I heard Walt and Matt G were in on the interview. Buckeye Boys interviewing Felix Ojo tonight, 5-star offensive tackle, Nevada OH. Yeah, I'm sure that Ryan made some of these guys a part of the thing so they could, ask questions and see how the fit was. Because, again, this is a unique situation because Matt Patricia's walking into a team that just won a national title. They were the number 1 defense in the country. They believe in the scheme that they're running. So, this isn't like, most of the time when you're switching your coordinator out, it's because a guy got hired to be a head coach somewhere or it was some sort of a calamity, some sort of a disaster, some sort of a hurricane that hit and you gotta, go fix it. Like with Kerry Combs, like when they fired him and brought in, Jim Knowles, it was to fix everything because it was a disaster. So this is the opposite. This is number 1 in the country, reigning national champions. And how can you enhance and correct some of the stuff that we did? How can we get better? How can we adjust to the personnel that we have? It's kind of that. This is a dumpster fire. We got to figure out a way to rebuild it. So, Nevada, your thoughts again, Dev. I appreciate you. And make sure you guys follow the Buckeye Boys on YouTube, Buckeye Boys with a Z. Give those guys a follow and make sure you tune into their show tonight. Your thoughts on OG Walt and Matt Gary being in on the interview with Matt Patricia?
Well, I think Ryan was all about buy-in. I mean, Ryan wanted these guys to buy in, and that's a very effective tactic that you do whenever you're bringing in a guy into a successful organization. And I think Ryan, whether or not they were really part of the decision-making process, he wanted to make them feel part of the decision-making process. I just think it was a very clever tactic by Ryan, and one of the reasons why these guys are so excited about him coming and being part of the staff.
Yeah. RJ Sorry, Pink Floyd cover artist. Make sure you guys follow our guy Ranjit Sorry. Call him RJ because he tipped us that was his real name or his nickname. Would you mostly keep the Knowles defense and have Matty P learn it and add your own ideas, or would you have Matty P bring his own defense and the players and coaches have to learn it? Nevada OH.
I
think you based do what we did last year, but then he's got to do what he wants to do. And again, every year is a new year, and you have to adjust your personnel. Can we get the same type of pressure that we did down the stretch last year with Jack Sawyer and JT and Ty Leak and Ty Hamilton rushing 4 and potentially blitzing Sonny and Cody? Cody was an excellent blitzer. Obviously, Sonny's back, but the other 5 guys aren't. So I think you got to adjust it. I think there's got to be more variance in where the pressures come from. There's going to be more confusion because our guys aren't as good. And again, I'm not trying to be a hater, but they're just not as good. And we're not going to be as good up front. Like, Kane Curry and Kenyatta, nice players. They're not in the same universe as JT and Jack. Our inside guys have a chance to be really good. Are they as good as Tyreek and Ty Hamilton? I don't think so. But I don't think that I don't think it's as big of a. It's not as drastic as a drop off as it is at defensive end. So now, does that mean all hope is lost? No, it just means you have to do some more stuff to make stuff more confusing, to make it harder to get guys set and make sure you get after these guys a little bit. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just speaking facts. Nevada, your thoughts? Again, RJ, he asks, should we keep Knowles' defense mostly and have Matt Patricia learn it? Or should you have Matt Patricia bring in his own defense and have the other coaches learn it? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's going to be a combination. It's going to be him taking, a lot of the best aspects, and that's, one of the things that Matt had kind of committed to doing here was that, they're not just going to like throw out the OSU defense. It's been a very successful, but it's not like Jim Knowles kind of invented this defense. I mean, it's basically a 4-2-5 where you bring pressure from a lot of different areas and simulated pressure and from one sides, and that's really what Patricia's all about. So I think it's going to be more similar than you think, but you're going to have a guy calling it that's done it at the highest level and won multiple Super Bowls doing it. So I'm excited, even though, as you say, it's going to have some big challenges because you're losing an awful lot of that defense. But I know he'll get the most out of them that he can.
Yeah, I agree. Bobby Heath, thanks for the deuce. RIP Ben Christman, way too young. Yeah, it's terrible, man. There's no other way to put it. It's disappointing. It's sad. And RIP to Ben, man, and his family. Just thinking about the best for him. What a good dude. Geodit 42, thanks for the 5. Will Matt Patricia go into the booth because he called the defense from the field with Bill Belichick? I don't know yet. I mean, I hope he goes in the booth because I think that that's the best place for him. And you got to figure out where do you want to put OG Walt and Matt, James. Who you got to put where. But I like my coordinators in the booth. I know there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, but I like my guys being in the booth. I think it's the best way to do it. It's my opinion. That, your thoughts on Matty P? I think they're going to experiment through that and see where it goes. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think they'll experiment, but I think he'll end up in the booth. I mean, you got to remember, Chip Kelly had been a sideline guy his entire career too, and he ended up in the booth, and he loved it. And so I can't imagine a coordinator. I mean, he's going to do his best work from the booth, and I think that's what will ultimately end up. But I know they'll play around with that during the spring.
Jim Dushel, thanks for the 100. Appreciate you, brother. Great seeing you today. First off, thank God you took off that suit. I was in a suit and tie today. It was rough. This is an unbelievable hire. You get a guy who worked for the GOAT. Completely agree. The people I know say this guy is a film stadium full. Love that. Old Man River, take George Hill is the best receiver. 73 stats. You are Old Man River, Jim. I appreciate you, my dude. Nevada. I think this is a great hire. And I know you're on board with that. So I appreciate you, Jimmy. I'll see you Friday after Jim Truss gets inaugurated. That'll be lit. Pooh 12, thank you for the 10. Patricia not being in the college football or the CFB for 20 years is being viewed by some as a red flag. In my opinion, it may be a boon to have an outside perspective as he sees deficiencies that the rest of the staff has missed. Your thoughts? Nevada, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it's a deficiency. I mean, he's been doing it at the highest level. He's been doing it with the highest level with the smartest people, against the best competition, and excelling at it and doing really, really well. So no, I don't think he's going to have any problem, bringing that down. I think it's different going from the college level to the pro level, but I think coming from the pro level to the college level, I don't think he'll have any trouble at all. And you're talking about a guy that's extremely high functioning. I mean, he is genius level smart. Whether he's got great personal skills or whatever you want to say about him, that's all up for debate. But in terms of his intellect is off the chart. And as I said earlier, he's been an NFL head coach, an NFL defensive coordinator, and an NFL offensive coordinator. I don't think anybody on the planet has ever done that before. That's how smart this guy is. That's what Ohio State's getting coming into the defensive room, and I'm there for him. I'm super excited, but I don't think he'll have any trouble making the transition.
All right, so Pooh, I'm going to repeat this. So you said Matt Patricia not being in college football for 20 years is being viewed by many as a red flag. So if I drive F1, which is the highest level of racing, the sort of the biggest ballers drive F1. Those guys, I mean, print money. And then I go down and ride in a dirt track, in Columbus, Ohio. I'm on the dirt tracks or something. Like, is it? Or people would say, well, for 20 years he was driving F1. He doesn't know what it's like to race on these old dirt roads or whatever. It's like that's what it's like. Because when you're in the league, when you're in the NFL, like every week, like Urban, and you guys know I love Urban Meyer. He's one of my favorite human beings on this earth. And when he went to Vic Fangio in pregame, and Vic Fangio outed him and said, well, Urban said that in the NFL, it's like every week you play Alabama. Well, yeah, because in the NFL, it's hard as hell to win. It's almost impossible. That's why you've had one undefeated team in the history of the NFL. College, you have an undefeated team every 2 or 3 years, because again, when you're at Ohio State, if you have a 12-game schedule, you got to get ready to go for about 4 or 5 games. The other 6 or 7, you just roll the helmets out. And you have better players, like way better players. In the league, it's not like that. So when someone says that being in the NFL for 20 years, working for Bill Belichick, who grinds his coaches into mincemeat, and surviving and getting promoted and becoming his right-hand guy, when people say that that's like a deficiency and that's something that's a bad thing, it illuminates how the lack of intelligence and the lack of awareness that they really truly have about football. So again, that's fine, because again, not all podcasts are meant to be the best. There has to be some for for people that just don't understand that, there is greatness out there. I mean, there has to be a podcast for the people that just don't really want to know what's really going on. And I appreciate that. I mean, they get their 1,300 views and they try to go live. They try to, bring the heat and, do whatever they can do, but that's great. And again, there's a place for that. Again, there's a difference between like a high-end, incredible restaurant and like a soup kitchen. And again, they both serve meals, but they don't have to be the same. There's a huge difference. So when people say that it's a bad thing he was in the NFL working for Bill Belichick for 20 years, I just don't know what to say, because there's dumb and then there's that. And I don't even know. I don't even have words. And I have a very expansive vocabulary. I don't even have words for that. Because I'm like, do you know how hard it is to be in the NFL for that long, to be at the Patriots for that long? Like, go look at what the churn rate is for coordinators and head coaches in the National Football League. What, every 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Like, what's the average for an NFL head coach? 3 years, maybe? I mean, there's guys that get fired after 1 year in the league. It's different. It ain't like being at Ohio State. I mean, we've had how many coaches in the last 20 years? What, 3, 4? Count Fickle? I don't know. So I don't know. All right, Malik Morgan, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my dude. Pats were always doing more with less. Is Patricia not already a better coach than Knowles? Multiple years learning from the GOAT. Go Bucks. If you put a gun to my head and said, Kirk, you have to pick one of the two, and they have equal talent, I'm taking Matt Patricia. And again, I think Jim Knowles is fantastic. But before this year, Jim Knowles, who's a very sharp mind, never won anything in his entire coaching career. Now he was also at Duke. He's at Oklahoma State. So again, when you're at those places and you have to go against Oklahoma and Clemson and Florida State, you're outgunned. So you're not expected to win anything. But Matt Patricia, when Jim Knowles was coming up in the ranks, was winning Super Bowls as a defensive play caller. So it's not the same. And I love Jim Knowles. And again, I thought he was as good of a defensive coordinator as we've ever had last year. I've never seen a performance better than that. Goal line defense was magnificent. But prior to last year, and really prior to his Ohio State tenure, was he good? Yes, he's very good. He's excellent, especially at Oklahoma State his last year. But before that little run at Oklahoma State, like I don't know. I mean, you put him up, Matt Patricia, when he was at Duke, Matt Patricia was winning Super Bowls. So I'm taking Matty P. Nevada, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, look, I think Jim Knowles is excellent. I think Jim Knowles with this system, having 3 years in the system, I think it's closer than it would ordinarily be because, the players are so familiar with it and what they're doing and coming off a national championship. But sometimes coming off a national championship too, you need to have that injection of new blood so people aren't complacent. They're not just kind of resting on their laurels. And bringing in a guy like this is going to shake it up, man. It's going to shake it up. So long term, I don't think there's any question that he's way better than Jim Knowles. And I think even in the short term, I think it's going to provide a boost to the defense that we need in a transition year in 2025. So I'm excited about it.
I agree. Jim Dusha likes to the 20. Who gives a poop what the SOBs think? Please get off that. I love you to death, man, dude. That's the best. Yeah, I don't worry about what they say. I just try to correct them. That's the easiest way to do it. But no, trust me. I think that what we got going on, and if they're upset, because again, Michigan fans are they're the dumbest human beings on this earth at this point. So if they're upset, then that means that we're killing it, and that means that we're chalk, and we're doing some huge things. So I'm excited about it. Gary Tate, thanks for the 10. I appreciate you, my man. If you have a question, throw that in the chat. Josh Dillon, thank you for the 5. Hope you're doing good, my man. Thanks for being on for me as well. What's up, Scoop fam? How much will having Matt help D recruiting in the portal in high school recruiting? Well, I think it'll be helpful. I mean, with the Belichick thing, and anytime you add a 3-time Super Bowl winning coordinator, and their rings are sick. I mean, Vrabel brought his ring in the one time, and that one Super Bowl ring that the Patriots got, their third ring, they got was humongous. So, hey, show that thing off. Get the kids in there. Say, this is what we've won. This is what you need to know, and let's go. What are your thoughts, Nevada?
Well, didn't you get like a Citrus Bowl ring for losing the Citrus Bowl? Did you get like a ring for losing the Citrus Bowl or something?
Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, and I gave it to an intern. I told Greg Gillum, who's an idiot and went to Wisconsin with Fickle, I said, I do not want a ring for a 6 and 7. Like the whole team got rings. And I said, I don't want a ring for a 6 and 7 season. Give it to Jason Osborne, who's an intern, because this is how cheap and stupid Ohio State is. They were going to make our interns pay for their rings. And these rings are like $300. And we don't pay our interns anything. They make $0 for working 6 years. So I said, give Jason Osborne, who's our best intern that year, give him my ring. Because I don't want a ring from a 6 and 7 team. I think it's total bullshit that we get rings when we lost 6 games this year. But again,
you lost the game. You lost the tax player.
And then we lost the game. So we got a ring. We got a ring during a season where we went 6 and 7. So, holy cow. Canada's hit the nastiest cross crease I've ever seen. Oh, my God. Nathan McKinnon.
Four Nation. Go.
Holy cow. Him and Crosby are gross. All right. Harish Chinasami, thanks for the deuce. Is Latrell's on the staff officially now? Don't think so. I think it's still, they're figuring out the consulting terms for his contract or what. I have no idea what he's going to do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Nevada, anything to add to that?
Yeah, it's going to be it's not a permanent staff type of position. It's going to be like a consulting advisory type of thing. And they're going to be able to use him and reference him. And so that's what the expectation should be, not like a full-time staff position.
Yeah. Gary Tate, thanks for the 10. Any update on the hammer drop for the team up north? Be a perfect offseason to cap off the Natty, Nevada OH. Nevada, you have anything to add to that?
March 6th. March 6th is the
yes.
the next date for the response for the NCAA. So mark that on your calendars. That's coming up, kiddos.
Jim Dushel, please stop with the SOBs from up north and what they think about this hire. Yeah, I don't worry about those guys. I mean, come on. They're shook right now, and they're worried about this March 6th coming in the worst way because it's going to be devastating for them, and I'm excited about it. So, Jimmy, let me know what you're doing on Friday mornings. We might have to go see our boy. Could be a good morning. Gary Tate, thank you for the 10. Ryan Day is earning his extension by hiring Matt Patricia. I think they were going with Cullen. Grand Slam. Hopefully, Chip left Brian his playbook. Yeah, Ryan Day's killing it. I mean, this is a huge hire for him, and I'm just so excited about what he's going to be able to get done with Matt Patricia on the other side of the hallway, coaching this defense. So Just super excited. Nevada, your thoughts on Ryan Day earning his extension by hiring Matt Patricia?
Yeah, I'm telling you, Ryan Day's a different guy. You watch these interviews, watch how he's carrying himself, watch the thing, and I just think it's gonna. I mean, if the biggest complaint about him was any big game type of tightness or whatever you want to call it, I'm not saying that's all going to be gone, but he's a different cat now. He's a different cat. He looks like a man that has had a 10 million pound weight lifted off his back, and it's so good to see. And it's great for Ohio State football. Great for Ryan Day.
Yeah, I love it. All right, local. Thanks for the 10 question. How do recruits like Khalil Mack get missed? He ends up in Buffalo. My city can't complain if the NIL was a thing back then. How much is he worth? Well, I mean, sometimes these guys, they're not. I mean, he wasn't Khalil Mack in high school. He was probably some undersized wide receiver or tight end or skinny linebacker that grew and worked hard and became, a man child that turned into a first ballot Hall of Famer. But, it's like I talked to people about Joe Tooney. Like Joe Tooney, who started at left tackle for the Chiefs, and he's from Kettering Alter. So he's from an hour away from Ohio State. He ended up going to NC State and was a really good player there. And he's highest paid guard in history, first team All Pro. And I was on staff at Ohio State. We didn't even look at Joe Tooney because he weighed 230 pounds. So guys get bigger, guys get stronger, guys progress, guys become worse. I mean, it's not always this, a binary, hey, we're just going to go up. I mean, like Joe Tooney is like, he's like Luke Kuechly. Like there's been some Hall of Fame level misses at Ohio State in the last 10 years, 15 years. And, but a lot of them, you can't really blame the staff at the time when it happens. Cause if we would have taken Joe Tooney, who weighed 230 pounds the senior year in high school, you're not going to be sitting there like, oh my God, like, what are you doing taking this little skinny runt who turns into a first team All Pro? Like Luke Kuechly is like a freak of nature, superstar, Hall of Fame linebacker. And we passed on him for a bunch of turds. I mean, hell, we passed on Antoine Winfield Jr. I mean, there's just sometimes where guys develop more than you project them to develop, and it works out to the point where, we look stupid. But that's just, it is what it is, and you can't really take them all at this point. Nevada, your thoughts? And in terms of, Khalil Mack would have been worth $5 million on the market easily. A first-team All-American pass rusher, DN, like that's $5 million easy. Nevada, your thoughts? How do we best on people like Khalil Mack? And how much should he be worth in NIL money today?
Yeah, like you said, just guys develop at a different rate. I mean, there are guys literally that put 60 pounds on in a year, or grow 6 inches, or Dennis Rodman, it grows from 6'3" to 6'9" in 1 year, and goes on to become a guy that played at Southwest Oklahoma State to be in the NFL or NBA Hall of Famer. I mean, there's so many stories about that, and that just happens. Khalil Mack would have been worth a fortune, but it got me thinking about, those jobs back then where you were a coach in the MAC school or a smaller school. I mean, they were attractive jobs for a lot of different reasons, but now those jobs suck now, Kirk. Those jobs suck. I mean, if you do find that diamond in the rough and buff them up and have become a superstar, he's going to get stolen. He's going to get taken. You're not going to see him play his second or third year at your smaller school. And it was already hard enough to be good at those smaller schools. Now that you've got free agency, I can't imagine the degree of difficulty, and that's got to be really frustrating for those coaches.
Oh, yeah, totally. Josh Dillon, thanks for the 20. Appreciate you, brother. Speaking of morons, Juice Poot, Josh Pate, his biggest brain in sports podcasting. Dude does not know how to take a position. How can you say that they won't hammer Michigan because they're a blue blood? Wow. Nevada, your thoughts on Josh Pate saying that they will not hammer Michigan because they're a blue blood? I think I've seen this movie before.
Yeah, it's just dumb. Think about it this way. Michigan didn't make the college football playoff, didn't sniff the college football playoff this year, but the college football playoff still went on. It still continued on without Michigan. How can we ever have the college football playoff without Michigan in it? Well, you just have 12 other teams. That's how you have it. So that their blue blood status is going to have absolutely nothing to do with why they're going to get the hammer sideways. It's going to have everything to do with the fact that they advanced scouted 50 plus times over 2.5 years and broke the rules while they were on probation as a repeat offender. That's why they're going to get the hammer. Nothing to do with the blue bloodedness.
Yeah. Yeah, they're scumbags and they're liars. And, they had all their Fab Five banners taken down. So they're used to breaking the rules and getting smashed. So it's going to happen again. I can't wait for it. Nevada, let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
No, just great day. I mean, great day. Matt Patricia. I mean, I said I wasn't going to stop smiling from the national championship, but I'm smiling even broader now. This is really, really good. It's really, really good. And I'm telling you, the only people that have bigger smiles than me are the staff at Ohio State. The defensive staff at Ohio State's got big smiles going on too, and they're excited. They're excited to have a guy like this in the room, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great to see. The 2025 season is going to be great theater. But watching the defense is going to make it even more exciting. So I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think it's going to be a huge spring coming up for the Buckeyes. With that being said, appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed our content. If you guys want a little bit more, join BuckeyeScoop.com. So we're about to jump on there right now. The Four Nations is going on. Canada's up 1-0. So we're big hockey fans around here. Hope you guys tune into that. If you guys enjoy what we do, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, I appreciate all that you guys do. Again, if you guys want to help us out in a major way, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts. That is huge for us. We are growing that very quickly. Keep spreading the good word. So again, love you guys to death. Leave us some comments. I want to hear your feedback on Matt Patricia. I'm excited as can be. I think it's going to be excellent. I think it's going to be huge for the program. So with that being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. See you guys tomorrow at 7:10. Go Bucks. Also, if you guys are still on here, breaking news, Sam Williams-Dixon is staying at Ohio State, which is huge. It's great news for Ohio State. So I want to let you guys know that if you guys are still on here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.